I've got 4 competitors. One person is returning, Jerry Hamilton from Hamilton Miller. He won last year. He agreed to come back and try and win it again and defend the crown. What kind of tips would you give for a returning champ and then for the new people coming to stage?
Sure. Well, for Jerry, I'd say keep doing what you're doing. I saw him. I was a judge for the final round and thought he was just outstanding. But I will say it was a very tough decision. And so I would say my first tip, my first recommendation is that you compete as often as you can in this thing. Because as Jerry's coming back, even if you don't win, you have a tremendous opportunity to show off your talents. And just because you don't win doesn't mean that you were less than or not every bit as good. Somebody, there's a winner and that's the way it works. But I tell you, we had a really tough decision. And everybody has a different style and the folks in the audience have different needs. And even though, you might not come out the top dog, you may strike a chord with someone who says, that's the one for me. So that's my first tip. I would say other tips, treat it like a real case. Prepare for it, put as much time in as you would for a real case. Do the work. Don't be afraid of it. Once you get in there and roll up your sleeves, you're gonna be great, but just prepare. Another tip is use demonstratives and ask Magna Legal to help you with that. Because not only does that show off Magna's capabilities, which is a really nice thing to do since Magna is hosting, but selfishly, it shows off your talents. What are you capable of doing? And the judges are looking for that sort of thing. I had a judge my first year give me feedback saying, I really would have liked to see some demonstratives. So ask Magna to help you put together a timeline. That was very effective for me one year. Another tip is to do the first rule of improv, which is in improv, the first thing that they teach you is it's always yes and. So don't block, don't deny. If there is someone throws something out there, a twist, don't just stand there and ignore it. Don't deny that it's happening or try to change the narrative. You got to embrace it, run with it, and then get command of that courtroom back. Just like in a real courtroom, when something goes awry, you want to show that you are in command.
Right.
And the same thing goes on that stage. And I have a perfect example if you have a minute.
Do.
One of the competitions I did for Chopped, in my closing argument, I had some demonstratives set up and I was going through some evidence. And right in the middle of it, Judge Messina, who's fabulous, he stands up and starts stretching.
I remember that.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
And it was great. And it can be so distracting if you let it. But if you expect the unexpected, you'll be ready. So when he stood up, instead of just waiting for him to be finished, I said, Judge, you stood up at just the perfect time. If you turn around and look at the screen behind you, you're going to see the most important piece of evidence in this case. And he did, and on I went. And it was a way of, you're diffusing the situation in a polite way, but you're keeping command of the courtroom. And you're saying yes and. I have watched people just stand there and wait for something to be over and not say a word about it, and it's awkward. So just try to get into the moment and use it.